So, as Shana mentioned, I'm Simone Zhang. I'm an assistant professor of sociology here at NYU, and I was the convener for this group. Shana, if you can move on to the next slide, please. In today's teach out, we're going to start by I'll introduce our FLC members a little bit, talk about our overarching aims and the approach that we took to our work. I'll also briefly share some of the sort of insights we derived from a faculty survey that we fielded in the fall semester. My other group members are going to sort of share some of our key takeaways and recommended resources for NYU faculty, students, and instructors who are trying to sort of navigate this brave new world that we're all now a part of. And we'll close with an opportunity for Q&A for those of you who've joined us today. So to introduce the members of our FLC, we have Chris Berry and Bart Bonikowski from sociology, Sandy Handen-Nader and Bright Moy from politics, as well as Hilke Schellman, who joined us from journalism. This was a really stellar group to work with, and we met throughout the fall semester. Shana, if you could switch to the next slide, please. So I want to sort of to sort of orient this discussion, I want to just briefly outline some of our key aims with this FLC. So part of our mission was to discuss some of the emerging implications of generative AI, specifically for the social sciences and the ways that we do research and the kinds of teaching that we do in the classroom and in our advising relationships with graduate students. We were also charged with identifying bite-sized resources for faculty, instructors, or students to kind of navigate the implications of generative AI. Our focus once again was on things that we thought were particularly salient in the social sciences and that would be useful at the community level across NYU. So to do so, we kind of took two main approaches. We met regularly, as I mentioned, for a series of group discussions that were quite wide-ranging, where we drew on our experiences in the classroom, as well as what we've been hearing, from our colleagues in our departments. And we also drew on our knowledge and experiences in our fields. Most of us in this group either study AI as an object of inquiry. We might employ AI tools regularly in our research or teaching. And a number of us also develop computational methods, which increasingly is entailing the use of generative AI in various ways. We also fielded a survey to kind of better understand systematically some of the emerging challenges and opportunities that faculty and instructors are seeing in their research and in their teaching. And I'll highlight some of those results in just a couple of slides. So we discussed many, aspects of the implications of generative AI for the social sciences, but a lot of our discussions really focused on two key buckets. The first being the promises and perils of AI for the way that we do research in the social sciences. And that includes both the implications for traditional quantitative methods or formal methods, as well as qualitative methods. We also discussed at length what the advent of AI might mean for the types of courses that we tend to teach at the undergraduate level, the kind of skills that we aim to impart, as well as the kind of implications that kind of AI poses for the skills that we might aim to develop among our graduate students at the master's level or at the PhD level. This entails both the skills, the traditional kind of social science, critical thinking skills that we've always tried to develop, as well as, asking the question of what kind of AI specific related skills, might be helpful for students moving forward. So in this next section, I'm just going to very briefly share some of the results from our faculty survey, which we fielded in the fall semester. We disseminated the survey to the three departments that I represented among those of us on the committee. But if any of you are listening to this or in the audience are interested also in potentially disseminating this survey among your colleagues, we would very much welcome that. So the results I'm going to present are based on 37 respondents across sociology, journalism, and politics. And this is just to kind of help ground the conversation a little bit in terms of the sort of key issues and concerns and opportunities that our colleagues are seeing. So, a sort of opening question that we posed to all the participants in the survey was just to ask them to kind of self-categorize their familiarity with generative AI. And what we see here, maybe what we might all expect, which is that there's a sort of wide spectrum here of familiarity from those who self-identify as completely sort of new to generative AI, don't know too much about it, a large chunk that see themselves as knowing a bit about AI, but certainly not to the level of an expert, and then a smaller segment of our colleagues who either use AI regularly or have kind of a deep understanding of how it works and functions. We further asked in this survey in what context faculty are using generative AI in the social sciences. And here you can see a sort of broad range of uses. A couple that I wanted to highlight is that we do see faculty reporting that they're using AI to help them develop curricula and to develop assignments and assessments. That's actually the sort of largest bucket here. But we don't see faculty turning to AI for the purposes of evaluating or assessing student work. So it's not being used for grading or providing feedback. It's a sort of sharp contrast, though both related to teaching and advising. Other uses that we see are in helping to automate or speed up administrative or service work and to help out in various stages of the research and writing process. You'll note this bottom bar here that highlights that about 70% of our respondents indicated that they're using AI in some way or another to replace RA work. And one of our sort of recommended resources that Brian will discuss in the next section is going to sort of help us think through what the implications of this trend may be. Sheena, next slide. So we asked an open-ended question about sort of asking respondents to just tell us a bit about their biggest worries when it comes to generative AI. And I think many of these responses may not be particularly surprising because they span not only the social sciences, but also higher education writ large. Three of the most prominent themes were related to the first two themes are related to teaching. So faculty expressed concerns about a potential loss of critical thinking and writing skills among students, as well as related sort of fears about the declining value and reliability of the traditional types of assignments and assessments we tend to give students in the social sciences, given that AI can now be used to, produce assignments and also shape student learning in different kinds of ways. There were also a large set of responses that were concerned about what AI means for research integrity and research quality moving forward. Colleagues, especially in journalism, highlighted in particular concerns about broader mistrust in the sort of ecosystem environment, an ecosystem of information that we're all exposed to. And finally, there were a number of responses that highlighted the concerns about the displacement of job and training opportunities for undergraduate and graduate RAs, the sort of fact that these kinds of roles are increasingly disappearing as AI is being used as a substitute for that kind of traditional labor and training opportunity. A few colleagues further kind of highlighted some larger scale existential concerns, the total destruction of academia as we know it. So what we kind of see here is sort of key prominent themes and a sort of larger kind of sense that the way that we do, we teach, do research in the social sciences is really going to be disrupted moving forward. And we need to kind of develop strategies to navigate it better. In addition to asking about challenges, we also asked faculty to report some of the key opportunities they see. Here we see a lot of excitement about the ways that it can bolster research, including in data collection and coding data, in conducting literature reviews, and overall the ways that AI can help us to better sort of identify large-scale patterns in larger data sets. So here, there really, I think a lot of the excitement was largely focused on the implications for research rather than teaching. In the next slide, we also saw opportunities that faculty reported around automating or supporting tasks that are sort of less creative or less exciting, more mundane, that we still have to get through on a day-to-day basis. And a more limited set of faculty also discussed how it supports teaching. Though I want to note here that even in this question about opportunities, saw a lot of ambivalence, I think, about AI tools, and a large set of faculty still reported having having very mixed feelings about using AI at all, or perceiving that sort of the benefits are very weak relative to the larger scale risks that AI is posing for higher education and social sciences more broadly. So I think overall the takeaways from our discussions as well as from the surveys is that there's really this very wide spectrum of views about AI and familiar with AI tools among social science faculty, and we really try to keep that in mind as we thought through potential resources to share and develop with faculty. That people have such a wide range of views and starting points that we wanted to think about making sure that anything that we build out or is accessible and meaningful to a wide set of faculty across a wide range of social sciences. We also saw, though, the sort of widespread shared concerns about AI consequences in teaching and advising, which my group members are going to share more about. And finally, we do see a wide range of sort of sources of excitement and fear about AI and how it's going to impact data collection, research methods, transparency, and just the sort of greater reproducibility of social science research moving forward. So I'm done talking now. Up next, we're gonna have Bryant talk about one of our recommended resources and some of the insights that we sort of developed in thinking about how AI, this problem of AI substituting for research assistance in the social sciences. Bart will share more about a resource we're recommending that helps researchers sort of step through and think through where generative AI may be helpful or harmful in completing different steps of the social science research process. And Sandy will share more on how we might think about redesigning student assessments in the age of AI, with a particular focus on the types of assignments and assessments that we generally give out in social science courses. So with that, I'll turn it over to Bryant.